Welcome, everyone, to Totally Whiskey and Wine. I am your host, Jason. With me, as always, is James, our intermediate, and Zach, our industry professional, where today we are going to be rating Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. So, without any further ado, our score. $64. All right, so this one got a 64. Well, how did we come across that? Well, what we do is we have 4 categories that we review everything on: nose, mouthfeel, flavor, and finally the finish. Each one we blind taste, and we each rate each category between 1 and 25, and then add our scores together to get a score up to 100. Add everything together, average it out, and that's our final score. So, how did we get each individual score? We're going to start with the nose. So, nose. On this one, I gave the nose an 18. I thought it was kind of smooth, a little bit mild. Didn't really have much spiciness to it, though. You know, I kind of wanted maybe a little bit more of that. And I think I got a hint of vanilla. But other than that, you know, I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't the top that I've had.
For me, the nose on this one was a 22.
Okay.
This is 101%, so it's about $50 for this bottle. On the nose, I really want to drink it. It's caramel. It's kind of like a traditional maple, not like a sweet maple syrup, but like a mapley sort of, like thick maple syrup sort of smell. It just smells very enticing, and I want to drink it. You know, so that's where I was at, 22.
Nice.
So I ended up giving it a nose of 13 with notes of hay, chocolate, pecan, caramel, smoke, and burnt grass. Overall, just lightly below average. Like, there's complexity there, which is why it gets a 13. But
I was going to say, a 13 from you, that's pretty low.
The biggest thing with it is, despite those smells being there, they don't nose through very well. You have to fight through it to find that complexity, and even then, it doesn't linger very long.
Okay.
And it doesn't pull through in the palate, as you're going to find out later.
All right.
What about the mouth? Where were you at?
So, mouthfeel.
Ooh.
Mouthfeel, this did not really do that much for me. I give it a 14. I didn't think it was anything really that special. Compared to other stuff I had, this is just kind of, it existed. It was there. Didn't linger long enough for me. It kind of vanished. Like, it was there for a little while and then just gone. So that was for me.
For me, I gave it a 19. It was smooth. It was full in the respect that everything it's kind of I want to be in a bourbon was sort of found in it a little bit. You know, it was nothing incredible. I mean, yeah, smooth, full. Those are the words.
All right.
So
what about you, Zach?
I ended up giving it an 18. This is the strongest category for me. Lightly oily, if you will. Pretty viscous. With the mouthfeel, it's smooth, easy to drink, approachable. I could understand why people would enjoy this. The people who like the Macallans of the world are going to enjoy something like this with how easy it is to drink. That's why it gets an 18 for me.
Okay. All right, so that brings us next to flavor. For flavor, same thing. It dropped a little bit for me on this next one even. I give it a 13. Again, nothing really special about it. The flavors, it had flavor. It was okay. Just didn't really do it for me.
For me, it dropped again. Flavor dropped down to an 18. I said it's typical a la carte bourbon wheel flavors. It's where it's bourbony. It's not Scottish. It's not medicinal. It's kind of the bourbon angles, but still all those normal kind of bourbon, vanilla, char, oak, sweet, vanilla. All the normal flavors are just kind of there. None of them are standoutish. None of them are heavy or unique, or if you really like one particular flavor, you might find it in here, but not enough of it for you to, want 3 or 4 pours of it,
Yeah.
So I ended up giving it 14, which is about average on the finish. So the way everything pulled through together was a mild experience. It isn't doing anything special for me. to disagree with you a little bit, with the malted barley in this, I think it does pull through a little bit more Scottish herbal than it does on a typical bourbon palate.
Okay.
And I think that's where it disagrees with me when I wanted a little bit more sweetness out of this. It's definitely there, but I'm picking up more of other things. It's okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that then finally does bring us to the finish. For the finish, I ended up, it went back up a little bit for me. I gave it a 16 on the finish because even though, like, mouthfeel, I said the mouthfeel, it just like, it was there for a bit and then it was gone. The actual flavor lingered for a little bit longer. I did enjoy that happened. Even though it wasn't the greatest flavor, it stayed a little longer, so I gave it just a little bump. But still, overall,
to cut you off, I think I skipped flavor entirely there.
No, you didn't.
You had it.
You talked about flavor.
Did I?
Yeah.
You got it.
I definitely just talked about finish there.
Well, I'm saying you talked about finish when you were supposed to talk about flavor.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. So, well, then just reverse it for you.
So following the normal pattern on the finish there, I gave it an 18 as well. I felt like it was lasting. It was a light Kentucky hug, a little bit of heat, kind of on the sour side, but it's still there. I still have a little bit of it, but I mean, at 101%, it's not amazing. I think one bottle and I would enjoy with my friends, and I probably wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
So you could maybe make an old fashioned with it or something like. But
yeah,
that's where it was.
I think that it would probably work out pretty well with that. I mean, it's just not spending a ton of money.
And I rated it higher overall. My overall total higher score was still a little bit higher than you two.
Yeah.
On that one, and that's still where I'm at on it.
Well, I'm gonna go back to flavor now.
Yes.
It was so insignificant that I forgot to even talk about it. I rated the flavor a 9 to reflect finish was 14. But
A 9.
a 9.
Damn.
There's nothing special going
No.
on here. I think it's below average in flavor the whole way through. I mean, you said it's a $50 bottle. There's a couple I could go ahead and list that are even cheaper than that I would prefer to buy, and it's not even picking out the big names. Like, I mean, come on. For $50,
It's everywhere.
I'm not a fan.
Right now, everybody wants it. It's the kind of the new thing. It's the 70th anniversary kind of bottle. So all the stores are posting. They got some in. Everybody's running down to buy it. Buy it. Enjoy it. Don't enjoy it. At $50, you're not
breaking
burnt.
the bank.
You're not getting burnt, but it's not worth any more.
But I kind of agree with what you said as far as would I buy another bottle? Probably not.
Nope.
There's other things you can get.
Yeah, I can't even think when I would come home this would be something I would go straight to. It's an okay starter, whiskey for the evening, or give a friend who's maybe never had whiskey or bourbon before.
There you
You're like, hey, I've never had that before. Oh, well, try this. You don't want to go give them any of the really great stuff. You probably won't be able to appreciate it or whatever.
Yeah.
Take them over, give them this. The stuff is there. It's bourbon.
Oh, so you're saying me? I get it.
It checks the boxes in most all the categories.
So,
and it's approachable.
do we actually want to read out our individual ratings here?
We can if we want. So
because I know you alluded to it.
Mine was a little higher than you two.
Yeah, I ended
generally.
up. I give it a 61 overall for my total. So
I was 77, and most of that came on the nose. The nose is the best part of this one.
And that for me, that's what I rated the highest was the nose. It just everything else kind of
fell off after that. So
and then for me, it was 54 with mouthfeel being the highest.
Yeah. And then obviously that flavor dropping off for you. So.
Otherwise it would have been fairly
Yeah.
average. Or, 54 is about as average as it gets when you're
pretty
at
close.
a scale of 100.
Well, on a scale of 100, but who knows? Based on the way we've rated things on previous episodes, you might have to math it out.
Yeah. So what's the mash bill? You have notes on the mash bill there.
Yeah. So mash bill 75 corn, 13 rye, 12 barley. Honestly, if you gave it 2% more rye, it'd be considered a high rye. So there's a lot more going on.
Instead of being a bourbon, would it be considered a rye whiskey then?
No.
'Cause I don't know how that works.
So bourbon has to be minimum 51% corn and minimum 2 years old, be aged in a virgin charred oak barrel, and then there's requirements for where it can enter the barrel at proof and where it can be bottled at proof.
Okay. So it's very strict.
A rye
requirements
would have to
be called
have
a bourbon.
at least 51%.
Okay.
Yeah, 51% rye to be called a rye whiskey.
Okay, so you see, that's interesting to know. I like that.
Maybe we'll do some tutorial episodes on what is whiskey.
Yeah.
Anything else on
Any
JR
closing
70th?
thoughts on things?
Nothing really. I mean, it's his 70th year picking out barrels, so I mean, been doing that a long ass time.
Yeah, they got a lot of different stuff. I'm not super familiar with that brand. I've had a couple of their other bottles, but nothing in there directly from Wild Turkey that
All right.
stands out for me.
If you look at the market share they had, they capped in the 50s, like a lot of other whiskey companies.
All right. Well, that being said, unless you guys have any final thoughts to add?
Thank you.
All right. So that was Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. We gave it an overall score of 64. It's $50 for a bottle, about 101 proof, and it's okay. Not the greatest, but whatever you choose to drink, I hope you enjoy it. And cheers, everybody.
Let's launch it.